Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Welcome to the Institute of All Intelligent Life. My name is Alan Kiesler, and today is Thursday, the 8th of December, 2016. And tomorrow is our last class in this course, so we will review what we have been talking about, and we will discuss the future of this course a little bit more. Please, if you like, join me. We will begin by taking some deep breaths, slowly inhaling and slowly exhaling to calm our minds and focus our minds. And we will, as you feel comfortable, chanting the name of God along with. Please close your eyes if you like. Relax, sit comfortably, let us breathe deeply. I will indicate how often I am counting or chanting with my fingers here. Allah, 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 Allah. Allah, 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 Allah. Allah, 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 Allah. Again, let us pray for peace, meditate on a world in harmony, progressive society where everyone is concerned for fellows, everyone is helping others, especially those in need, the poor, the sick, widows and orphans. Anyone who is in special need, others will help them, just like members of a family. That is the real meaning of the peace and harmony and love that we are meditating on. So I will repeat a little bit of what we have covered in this course, just to remind everyone. In the beginning, we more discussed the secret space programs, which was quite astonishing to me when I first heard about it. But gradually it becomes something that seems very reasonable, although unusual, no doubt, how in the early part of the 20th century, even by 1920 in Germany, a few individuals were beginning to contact extraterrestrials and in an intentional program developing craft for traveling into outer space. And by the 1930s and 1940s, Germany had developed and they were traveling out to the moon and Mars and beyond. And after the Second World War, or even during it, before it had ended, Germany shifted most of its spacecraft, as well as many of the scientists and leaders, persons who were working together with this secret space program, out of Germany to South America and to a base underneath the ice in the Antarctic. And in the 1950s, the United States also after having brought many of those German scientists to the United States, began developing its own secret space program. And even in the 1950s, the United States also had taken men to Mars long before, first to the moon, long before the NASA moon trip, first moon trip in 1969. So this was all going on with practically no information leaking out to anybody outside of the program. And it wasn't really until the 1980s that this information started coming out, when President Reagan wrote in his diary. Of course, it didn't come out until after his death when the diary was published. But in the 1980s, President Reagan wrote that we have the capacity, he had been told by a group of scientists, to orbit 300 men in space at the same time, 300 astronauts at the same time in space, which was totally impossible by the craft that NASA had, which meant he was acknowledging there was a secret space program. So that was the first topic that we covered, and then we went into the teleportation experimentation that also was going on in the 1970s, 1980s, and time travel experiments, which were also successful as long ago as 1970s and 1980s. So this secret space program was, of course, derived from extraterrestrial help. That is, information, as well as sometimes physical craft, as well as meetings. As early as the 1950s, President Eisenhower had met personally with extraterrestrials and had signed some treaties. First, a treaty was rejected by a group of extraterrestrials who were good, trying to help us, and offered a lot of help, technology transfer, and the condition was that we should give up our nuclear weapons program, which the United States refused to do. And then another group of extraterrestrials made a treaty, which may have been the group allied with Nazi Germany, and they agreed to give technology basically on the condition that they were allowed to abduct certain people, although they were supposed to give a full report of who they were abducting, and they could not kill anyone. It was supposed to be for some scientific experimentation only, as well as animals, and they requested that their presence be kept secret, which the American government was more than happy to do anyway, because they didn't want everyone to know about this. First of all, it put them in a weak light. These extraterrestrials were much more powerful, technologically so much more advanced, so the secrecy was imposed further. So that was a brief summary of the two main points that we started with in the beginning of this course. And then we went on to describe many more details about the secret space programs, especially the discovery of ancient bases and artifacts on different planets, moons, especially of Saturn and Jupiter, which were not natural bodies, but they were constructed. They were like giant spaceships. And even our own moon, we then discovered, has been colonized for thousands, if not millions of years, and there are huge underground facilities on the moon, as well as some on the surface, all of which, of course, was concealed by NASA. And we learned that there was this ancient builder race, which they were much larger than we, human-looking, but much larger, taller than we, and they had built bases throughout our solar system and in other star systems, which our own secret space programs then discovered and sometimes utilized for their own bases, and that there are many different extraterrestrial races which are traveling throughout the universe, and throughout the galaxy at least, and many of them have bases on the moon, and that the moon is more like Antarctica in terms of a place where many different, sometimes even unfriendly species or people from different civilizations on different planets together have bases or next to each other, and it's sort of a place where they utilize that moon base for different purposes, scientific experimentation, and to observe our planet, which is a very special planet. That's what we learned about, although the Earth is not the center of the universe, as was believed by many human beings as recently as a few hundred years ago, or even more recently than that. The Earth is not the center of the universe, but it is a very special planet. Mainly because, or I shouldn't say mainly, one reason is because there is a very important stargate, that is a portal for transporting or teleporting from this galaxy to other galaxies near our sun. So therefore it's a very valuable place just for that reason. And also we have learned that humanity is a very, very unusual species. Our genes and our nature is quite special, not ordinary. Why? Because we have deep spiritual emotions, which is far advanced, really, in many ways over many other races. So they are observing us carefully. What are we going to do as we enter this critical period in human history, when we are discovering, openly contacting other civilizations throughout our galaxy, and we ourselves are now being required to develop a unified humanity, where if we keep fighting with each other, then we will not be able to enter that family of civilizations, of extraterrestrial civilizations. So this is a very, very crucial time in human history. And then, just to conclude this quick summary of the course, we learned that our extraterrestrial friends, that is the good extraterrestrials who have been supporting us for thousands of years in different ways, and often were identified as angels, they have been asking us now to focus our minds on peace and on kindness, because this is really what is the most important thing we can all do. Along with meditation and prayer, we just need to start acting in a more peaceful and friendly way on an individual level, with each other, with our friends, families, and that will lead to world peace, God willing. And of course, I have stressed all along the presence of the prophecies about Pakistan and my own experiences of being told that Pakistan is the place where peace and unity will be established, and pure Islam, which means love and peace, unity, taking care of the weaker elements of society, justice, truthfulness, honesty, openness. This is the characteristic of pure Islam, which is being established in Pakistan, inshallah, and will be established all around the world. So this is a very important summary of our course. Maybe one thing I left out a little bit was the extent to which negative extraterrestrials have been manipulating humanity for thousands of years, and especially the last few hundred years have developed as the so-called Illuminati, or the Cabal as we call it, a group of very, very powerful, wealthy bankers and industrialists, multinational industrialists and royalty, religious people also involved, so-called religious people, posing especially in the Vatican, controlled by or directed by extraterrestrials from the Orion group. That is a negative, very, very manipulative and selfish group of extraterrestrials who want to control more and more of the galaxy, but who in the last few years only, after having had a plan for hundreds and thousands of years to do the same thing here that they have done in a number of other places, namely just take over the planet, impose a dictatorial fascist government on the world, and then keep everybody basically enslaved to because of their military control of the planet. That was their plan, and they had actually a plan specifically that by the year 2000, that was their goal. They would impose this one world order. This is not successful. This plan has been defeated, obviously, and right now it is sort of the last stages of that struggle, because the good extraterrestrials have intervened and have imposed a quarantine on the solar system so that nobody can come and go without their permission. And for some time there was also a very strict quarantine of our planet, but that was relaxed because there were a number of extraterrestrials who were here simply to do sort of observation or even sightseeing, sort of. So they were stuck here when that was relaxed. But the quarantine on our solar system is still in place, which has prevented the negative extraterrestrials from being able to implement their plan of taking over this planet. And actually now they are on the defensive. They have been very successful for hundreds of years, especially through the 20th century. They gradually increased their stranglehold of the planet by controlling all the media, practically all the media. That has been challenged by the internet, which they have not been able to control, which they wanted to and tried to, but now the information, the truth is getting out, largely because of the internet and because of the presence of many, many good-hearted people, wanderers, people who have come to this planet specifically to help in this transition period, as well as many good people who simply have been trained. Again, this is the benediction of religion, that people have been trained to be honest and courageous, trust in God. Of course, there are negative sides of religion also, where people become domineering. They think my religion is the right religion, and they feel it is their right to impose their religion on others, and people start fighting and even killing because of differences in religion, which is a very negative thing, very contrary to the actual teachings of every religion, which again is love and peace, harmony and justice. So that is a quick summary of our course, and we are very, very fortunate now to be living at this time when we can help in establishing this new galactic species. The Earth is now becoming the home of a species that is going out into the solar system, into the surrounding stars, and developing relationships with other civilizations. It has been not such a good development, because those who were doing it, who were controlling the secret space programs, were not very good people. Many of them were very selfish and manipulative, allied with evil extraterrestrials. But now that is changing, as the good extraterrestrials and their Earth allies are becoming more powerful, both technologically, getting more advanced craft, and also as the human beings on this planet are waking up and understanding what is happening, the negative, manipulative society that was being developed is being challenged. So we will see what the coming years bring, but in my opinion it will not be very many years. I used to say, maybe it will happen in my lifetime, maybe it won't. I'm almost 70 years old, according to your way of counting in the East, in Pakistan, for example. When somebody is in their 70th year, they're called 70. So I'm in my 70th year, just like Pakistan is. And I used to think within 10 to 20 years it may not happen. But now I'm quite convinced it will. That within 10 years, maybe even 5 years, maybe even before that, the information about the extraterrestrial presence is going to be openly revealed, and everyone will become aware of it, God willing. All right, so I'm just going to conclude what I'm talking about by saying that if you want to review this information in detail, all of these classes are available on my Facebook page as well as on my website, allintelligentlife.com. You can go to that website and you can see a short summary of each of the classes, and you can choose which ones you might want to watch the videos of. And of course, one more point, we have gradually, because of this request of the extraterrestrials to focus on peace, focus on love, focus on truthfulness and justice, not worry so much about the details of knowledge about extraterrestrials. Therefore, in this course, we have in the recent past, last week or 2 or 3, focused more on meditation and prayer and praying for peace. So let's see. As I mentioned yesterday and the day before, I believe this course was originally scheduled in September when I began it to be an 11-week course. This is the 11th week, so I have decided I'm not going to continue this course right now. Tomorrow will be the last day. I will then have an Urdu chat on Saturday, as I've been doing. And I will perhaps start it again, but my financial position is quite weak right now. I was hoping and expecting that people would give donations to help me continue this teaching, but that has not happened. If you want to help me to continue teaching, please go to the website, allintelligentlife.com. You can click on Pay Tuition, Donate online, and you can give a donation online. There's also information there how you can send a check or money order to my physical address, to my post office box. And if I do receive sufficient funding, then I will be able to continue this course right now. Otherwise, I will have to make a little money some other way to be able to restart this course, perhaps next month, God willing, if everything goes well. All right, so we will just review now. Any questions or comments? Let's see what we have here. We have Chuck Reyes, hello from Thailand. Nice to have you with us. Salam Nawaz Swati Sahib, wa alaikum salam. Ayesha Adil, what does time travel mean? Time travel means literally that a person from 2016 can go into a, well, there were machines. They have developed machines that they were obtained from extraterrestrial help, which can put somebody back into time or forward into time, literally. So time is not what we usually think of as a river, a stream of time that once it's passed, it's gone, and the future has not yet happened. Of course, the future is not determined because there are different futures. There are different timelines. So time is not just a stream. This is one other topic I discussed quite a bit in this course. Time is not one single stream. It is more like a delta, a river delta, where there are many different streams, and we can actually hop from one stream to another. We can shift timelines, which actually changes our history. So there are also ways to time travel without machinery, but that requires very advanced consciousness. But our scientists had developed, even I think it was 1970s, 1980s, and as I've mentioned, I voted in the presidential election. I could not vote for either of the major candidates, but I voted for Andrew Basiago, who was running as a write-in candidate, and he was one of the first time travelers in the United States, or in the world as far as we know. He, as a child, because his father was one of the engineers working in a secret CIA and defense agency program for developing time travel. So he, this amazing fact, which you can find this photograph on the internet, he was transported back in time to the famous Gettysburg Address of President Lincoln in 1863, I believe. And a photographer, that was the early photography had been developing then, happened to take a picture where Andrew Basiago, as a young 11-year-old boy, was standing right between the camera and the place where Abraham Lincoln was to speak. So that platform and that group of people are there in the background, and in the foreground is this boy who looks very out of place, and he is Andrew Basiago, who had been teleported, time-traveled from the 1970s, I believe it was, when that happened, back to 1863. So time travel really exists and has been developed. And if this technology were revealed, of course, it would change humanity a lot. And teleportation is another thing that Andrew Basiago is talking about in his presidential campaign. He openly broadcast these truths about time travel and teleportation. And so teleportation is very important because all of our use of oil, gas, all these fuels would be totally unnecessary. And one of the main reasons why the secrecy about teleportation, as well as about extraterrestrials and space travel and time travel, has been kept secret, is because the technology utilizes what is called zero-point energy or free energy. So all the oil and gas, all these big electric power lines that we have, all of that energy industry, which is a trillion-dollar industry, multi-trillion-dollar industry, that would become unnecessary. So those same people who control the mass media, control the governments of the world to a great extent, control our educational systems, they control the energy industries, so they are preventing this knowledge from coming out because all of their trillions of dollars they make would be lost because people would no longer need to use. So of course it would also end the pollution of the environment because of the use of fossil fuels. But they don't care. This cabal, they don't care if they degrade our planet's environment as long as they can make money and remain in control. But they will lose control when this knowledge comes out. That's why they're trying to prevent it from coming out, but it is coming out, as this class is talking about. So Chuck Reyes is asking, do you believe that the U.S. will start a false flag next year, them saying UFOs will attack the planet? That is a plan. That plan has been in effect for many decades, even since the 1950s, 1960s. This was revealed by Carol Rosin, Carolrosin. You can do a search for her. She was the secretary of Wernher von Braun, who was the leader of the United States NASA's rocketry program. And he told her, he was one of the insiders, but he was a good man at heart. And so he tried to stop them by revealing this information, that there was a plan in the distant future at that time. We're talking, several decades ago when he revealed this. They had created the enemy of the communist world, which was not really the enemy. They were controlled by the same cabal. They were created by the same so-called Illuminati. The communist world was created as an enemy for the so-called free world or capitalist world. And by having that enemy, they could scare people into giving a lot of money, being happy that a lot of money was being taken to fight against them. That was all an artificial show. But they needed an enemy in order to scare people, keep people afraid. And Wernher von Braun told Carol Rosin that after some time then there will be another enemy, which will be basically rogue states or terrorist states, what came to be known as Muslim terrorism. That was also a creation. Al-Qaeda was created. ISIS was created, not by Muslims, but by anti-Muslims, by the same cabal. They created ISIS and Al-Qaeda to be the enemy of the so-called free world. And then, Carol Rosin said, Wernher von Braun had revealed this, they will stage, just like 9/11 was a false flag, they created that in order to scare everybody with so-called Muslim terrorism. Now they have a plan to create a false flag alien invasion. They have technology, not only they have flying saucers that will look just like extraterrestrial craft, they have holographic technology, which they have, just like holographic movies have been available for many decades, but they've kept them secret because they have a plan to create a holographic extraterrestrial invasion also, along with some real flying saucer craft. That is their plan, to create a new alien enemy. But that has been stopped also. They're desperately working to try to implement that. Actually, they wanted to do it before the last United States election. That was their plan, to disrupt the election, because Hillary Clinton was the cabal's candidate, believe it or not. Donald Trump was not part of the cabal. He was wealthy enough that he could run on his own money, because in the United States you can't really win a political election unless you have a lot of money, and the only people that really usually have a lot of money are the cabal or the Illuminati, who control the banking industries of the world, and they can just make money basically by their various tactics. So they control the money system in the world, so they've become unlimitedly wealthy. And any politician in the United States and in many other countries, to be successful, has to have a lot of money to run the campaign. So Donald Trump had his own money, very, very wealthy billionaire, so he was able to run his campaign without depending on the cabal. So they did not want him to become the president. And they're still trying to stop it, even though he's been elected now. Then their plan was, I talked about this in more detail when it was happening back just around the time of the election last month, that the cabal was planning to stage that false flag alien attack just before the election in order that they could cancel the election or postpone it at least so that Donald Trump could not win, because they knew he was going to win. Actually, they completely manipulated the polls. They knew beforehand that he was going to win, and they were trying to stop it. And one plan was to stage this long-planned alien invasion. So they're still planning it, but I believe at least they're going to not be allowed to do it. That is, our more powerful, good extraterrestrial friends, as well as many people, even in the United States military, in the Pentagon, even in the CIA, and certainly in the FBI, there are many good people who are working against the cabal and are preventing them, along with their extraterrestrial good allies. These good people within the United States military and government are intelligence agencies. They are preventing that false flag for alien invasion. So I know that they have tried to do it in the past, but they've been prevented. And I believe they will be prevented. It will not happen, because if we, as Dr. Stephen Greer has also been doing, and many other people have been warning us about this planned false flag invasion. So if that information gets out, sufficient number of people learn about it and understand about it, they won't be able to pull it off. All right, so Gemma Art is saying, thank you for this incredible summary, but I still feel to ask you, do you really think that without the ET help, the humanity is not going to get its peak? I believe our faith is leading us in right direction if we hold it tight. Well, that's okay. I can accept that position as a very good, honorable, honest, faithful position. But the fact of the matter is that we have had a lot of ET help, because we've had a lot of ET enemies also controlling and manipulating us. I guess you can say throughout human history, good ETs, which often we call angels, have been helping us, and because of that angelic help, humanity has been able to progress. Without that, we wouldn't have. So similarly, at the present time, we are fortunate to have that sort of help from angelic extraterrestrials, good, favorable, kind, and loving extraterrestrials who are helping those of us who are also trying, at least, to be very kind and loving and good, and are opposing this deceitful. That is one of the main characteristics of the cabal and of the negative extraterrestrials. They use deceit and manipulation. So the truth is coming out. So the truth, part of the truth is that this is an extraterrestrial war going on. It's not just a war between the cabal, between the leaders of governments and the leaders of religious institutions, the leaders of royalty, the leaders of educational systems, the leaders of the economy of the planet. All those powerful, powerful people are fighting against good people, honest and truthful people who are trying to bring out the truth. So this fight is going on, but it's also a war in heaven, as we say in the Christian tradition. There's the idea of the war in heaven happening at the last days, which is this time period we're living in now, the Day of Judgment, when there is a war going on amongst extraterrestrial groups, the good guys against the bad guys, as well as on this planet. And I believe it's clear to me that we are succeeding, the good guys are succeeding on this planet because there is extraterrestrial help, good extraterrestrial help. Otherwise, the evil extraterrestrials are much more powerful, technologically much more advanced than we are, and much better at deceiving people than we can imagine. All right, so thank you all very, very much. And this was a quick summary of this course. And I hope you've enjoyed the course. Tomorrow will be our last day. We will wind up and discuss a little bit more what we will do. If you have any comments to what you would like this to see in the future of this course, please let me know. But again, I have to stress, unfortunately, that I can only continue teaching if I get some more financial support. That was my idea, why I began this course, because that is my financial position. It is weak and I need more money to be able to continue teaching like this. So I hope I will get some donation or some sort of support. Okay, thank you all very, very much. Let us end this with one more brief prayer and meditation for peace. May we all join together in meditating, deeply breathing in, slowly and out, as we see before us a world, a whole planet in peace. And I will count 8 times inhaling, exhaling 16 times while I chant the name of Allah. You can chant some other name of God or just meditate on your breathing. Allah, 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 Allah. Allah, 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 Allah. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let it begin with us. Let there be peace throughout our solar system and our galaxy, and let it begin with us. May God protect us all.